The holiday season is upon us, and there are tons of holiday-themed activities and special events taking place here in Portsmouth that attract visitors from all over Hampton Roads. Many of those events and activities are sponsored by the museums. We'll look at some of them on this November-December episode of Museum Moments. Welcome to our November-December 2017 episode of Museum Moments, the show that's your window into what's happening here in Museum City, Portsmouth. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. November and December are here, which means the holiday season, which means lots of annual events. But before we get to the holiday annual events, let's take a look at an annual event that takes place at the Tidewater Community Center Art Gallery. I'm joined by Ed Francis, who's a faculty member at the TCC Visual Arts Center. Welcome, Ed.
Hi.
Now, I understand that we have an annual event that takes place every November at the TCC Visual Arts Center. What is that event?
It's the annual faculty show, which is a big spectacular that we put on for everybody to see what we do. Also, the same night as the opening, we have the student sale, which is also another big deal, because it's one of the rare opportunities when the students get to sell their work to the public.
How many faculty members are involved with the show?
This year, there's going to be 28 current and former faculty members in the show.
Okay, and what types of works of art are on display?
Everything, painting, illustration, glasswork, ceramics, you name it. Everything we do here shows up in the show.
Will you have any of your works displayed this year?
Yeah, I'm going to have a couple cast glass pieces that are, they're solid cast colored glass that kind of are landscape and kind of body form like. They're a new body of work I've been working on for a while.
What is what do you call it, cast iron?
Cast glass, yeah. It's we make a plaster mold that goes in a kiln, and then there's a whole long process of like melting the glass and cooling it down. Okay. They take quite a long time to make, and they take a long time to finish as well. They're pretty involved. They're really nice. I like them.
Now, you mentioned that there was a student sale as well.
Yes.
These are students who are selling their art?
Yeah, the students produce a lot of work during the year, and they don't have too many opportunities except on their own to sell them through the VAC. So this is their big opportunity. They all really look forward to it.
Okay, I guess it might be a good place to come if you wanted to pick up a unique holiday gift for somebody.
Cheap Christmas presents. Yep, that's the way it goes.
All right. Now, if people wanted more information, is there a number that they could call? Or
822-1888.
All right, so the opening date for the exhibit, again, is
November 17th, and then it's open to the public from November 18th through January 3rd. The gallery's open from 9 in the morning until 8 at night, 7 days a week.
7 days a week, and that's almost every day of the year.
Almost every day of the year, right.
All right, so whenever you come to Old Town Portsmouth for anything, remember, you can always drop in to the TCC Visual Arts Center. Thanks for coming and telling us all about the exhibit, Dad. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, thank you.
All right. The Portsmouth Naval Shipyard Museum has been closed for a little over a year for renovations. It's scheduled to reopen in 2018. Now, this museum houses tons of artifacts related to the shipyard, but also to the history of Portsmouth. And we've been developing a segment for the last couple of years called Hands on History. Here's Emily Kilgore from the Naval Shipyard Museum for another episode of Hands on History. Emily, welcome.
Hi.
Good to have you back.
Yes.
Now, I emailed you the other week to set up this interview, and you said that you were bringing trash.
I wanted to bring trash, yes.
And you have brought trash.
I did. I have all kinds of things here that are from the 1846 courthouse. We did a dig back in 1983 here in the parking lot and discovered all kinds of interesting things. It's what a lot of people would have thrown away, anywhere from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. So we just have a variety of different things to kind of check out and look at, and things that we have in our own household, but they actually tell a story. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What do you have here?
So one of the first things that I always love to show are doorknobs. I mean, they're something very, very simple. They exist in every single household. We actually have quite a collection of doorknobs. There's an entire box in our collection about it. You know, it doesn't really tell a story other than the fact that the doorknobs look a little different than what they do today. They're made out of different materials, usually iron, and the fact that this came out of the ground after being thrown away is just something very different, something you don't really think about.
And the doorknobs, they sort of operate differently from decades
Yeah,
to decades,
yes.
century to
So
century.
this one would have turned the same way. It would not have had a lock on it. They would have had a bolt lock instead of actually having a lock on the doorknob like we see. And you would have had to kind of pull and twist at the same time instead of just turning a doorknob as we think of today. So that one's a little brass, so it's looking a little sad, but it's there. So along the lines of metal, we also have a fork. You know, not something that you really think of as something that, you know, one's going to want to hang on to. But what makes it interesting is that I know that this is a salad fork because it's skinnier. So
It looks dangerous.
it does. It looks
really hurt
a
yourself
little
with that.
scary. It is ornamentally done. So with that, we know that if they were eating in the courthouse, potentially the clerks that were working here, or any of the judges that were maybe staying for long hours, they would have had a fork. This could also have been from one of the nearby houses, and there may have been a trash heap right behind the courthouse that they would have thrown it away in. So it looks a little sad as well, just like our doorknob, but it stood the test of time, and you're right, it looks a little dangerous, looks a little scary. So another metal piece that was found in our collection, this one is my favorite. This is actually a soldier that was a toy soldier. It's probably from either World War I or World War II. We're not entirely sure. So it would have, you can see the soldier has a helmet and he's bent over. So this is something that's very, very rare. A lot of collectors will really hunt these down. But we love it because it represents the fact that there were probably children in the courthouse at some point, whether they were, you know, there with their parents to take care of clerk matters, money, anything like that. Or it could have been from, again, one of the houses and maybe one of the children dropped it when they were playing or something like that. So it's the only one that we have in our collection, and it's a very rare item. And he's kind of looks like he's been melted or something of that nature, but we're not entirely sure what. We just know that he no longer stands up on his own. So it's something that makes a bit of a play area. Now, something that people don't think about being around the courthouse would have been animals. So horses would have, you know, been parked right outside as people did their business and kind of moved back in. And horse-drawn carriages were a very common form of transportation in Portsmouth. So we find a lot of horses' teeth hanging around everywhere, and we have boxes upon boxes.
And these were found in the dig right
yes,
here.
these were found in the dig right here. So we're not entirely sure if a horse's tooth would have fallen out while the horse was here, or if it would have been something along the lines of maybe the horse was killed nearby and would have been buried in the area. We're not entirely sure. We don't have any paperwork that tells us that, but we have quite a few horse bones that, you know, different sizes that are all teeth. And we do know that the horses, because of the way that the bones are broken down, we know that the horses would have eaten a lot of hay, a lot of corn. There's a lot of sugar in their diet.
I would assume that there probably were still horses being used, maybe even up until the early 1920s.
And we do see the police walk around with them every now and again. They have the horse riders as well. So that's something that is not, you know, again, not something you think about finding in a trash heap at a courthouse, but it's
in a downtown area.
In a downtown area, exactly. We don't see very many horse-drawn carriages anymore, so this just tells us a little more about the transportation of the past.
Wow.
Now, what goes along with our fork really well are we have boxes upon boxes of ceramic pottery shards. And we don't know what they belong to because they don't match in any sort of way, but we find that we have very vibrant colors, which means that this is probably expensive plates, bowls, anything like that would have been used to have a brighter color like that. And I've got gloves on, but you can feel that. You can actually feel the texture that's right there on the paint itself. So this would have been a hand-painted piece of pottery, and again, we don't know if it's a plate, we don't know if it's a bowl, we don't know if it was maybe a ceramic, like a pot that held flowers. We just know that it was broken, and when it was broken, it was thrown out into the heap. And we can't date it, unfortunately, but we do know that hand-painted pottery is still used today.
Right.
So it could be anywhere from the 1800s to the 1900s, but it still has a very, it's one of my favorite pieces because it's very pretty. We have a nice little flower on it. And with that, we also have this particular pattern shows up a lot. This is something that is known as willowware. This is blue willowware, and blue willowware would have been very common in the 1800s, all the way into, it's kind of made a resurgence. And we know that it was considered day wear. So, you know, people would have had china out all the time. They would have had the blue willowware pattern. The story originally comes from Japan, so it was an interesting way to connect an Asian culture into the courthouse. Again, I'm assuming they're having a lot of really good meals here because they have a lot of really good pottery that's been thrown out in the trash heap. So I'm not sure who would have been eating, but they did have a kitchen, and they had the availability to make food.
Wow.
And then every so often we do find we get a couple more modern pieces in digs. This is a bottle cap that probably is from the 1950s. It still has the foil on it, so probably somebody just twisted the top off and started drinking their soda or whatever would have been in here. So we know it's not from the same period as some of these other items, but it just goes to show that archaeologists find all kinds of things, and then museum people find all kinds of things. So with the bottle cap, then comes the bottles, and this is a very, very common thing that you're going to find in Portsmouth now. We have a lot of local breweries in the area and everything like that, and this would not have been a brewery here in Portsmouth, but you can actually see it does have Norfolk, Virginia on it. So this the beer may not have come from here, but there were glass bottle making companies here in the Portsmouth area, the Norfolk area. So something that you see a lot. Very rarely do you see bottles have their information printed right on the bottle. Usually it's just a label. So we know that this is a more interesting, a more older bottle of sorts, probably from the early 1900s, mid 1920s, somewhere around that time. Wow. And then we do get bottles that didn't hold beer. And this particular one, it actually has the word Boardman on it. So with Boardman, we're going to assume that it was probably a type of glass bottling company, but we don't know if this would have held beer, if it would have held wine, or if it would have held medicinal objects. So we have a lot of bottles like this in our collection that have picked up a lot of really interesting color as they've changed over time. So it's a very pretty bottle. It's a very pretty blue. I'm going to assume it had a metallic paint on it at some point or another.
Yeah, pretty translucent.
It is, and you can actually see, you can see all the way down into the bottle, but you can't see, you know, from the bottle inside. We wouldn't be able to, you know, look at it or something like that. So the reason why we hang on to all of this is not only, we don't like to collect junk in the museum, but we find that the trash tells a story. So this is something that we've started teaching people, that you know, digs did happen. They happened here at the courthouse. They happened off of North Street, off of Washington Street, and they tell the story of the people who lived here before us. So this is actually something that we're starting to do in the Naval Shipyard Museum as part of a program that we call Museum in a Box. And we offer it for teachers and homeschool parents to check out, and they can essentially get pieces like this in their box, and they can learn about trash versus treasure. So we talked to them about something called a midden, which is an archaeological trash pit, essentially. And it's just our way of trying to teach the past.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And one man's trash is
another man's treasure. Exactly.
Right.
And a lot of it we don't know a whole lot of stories about. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are, you know, glass bottle experts. There's doorknob experts, and so we kind of learn as we go, as we find it. So we have a lot of interesting artifacts sitting in our collection that nobody knows about, but they would think it's trash back in the 1800s, and today we find it to tell the story.
That's
so
great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and bringing your trash.
Yes, thank you. We have lots of it, so it tells a great story.
And right now the Naval Shipyard Museum is slated open in 2018?
We're hoping early 2018. We don't have an exact date just yet. We're still having some of the dirty work done, things like boilers, painting, that kind of thing. But we're hoping to open early 2018, so keep an eye out.
We sure will.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
Thanks. When we return to Museum Moments, we'll take a look at some of the holiday events coming up this November and December. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Portsmouth on the right side of the river. Rediscover your neighbor, the new Portsmouth.
Welcome back to our November-December 2017 episode of Museum Moments. Every holiday season, beginning in the mid-1960s and continuing until the early 2000s, something magical happened in the Churchland area of Portsmouth. Coleman's Nursery presented its annual Winter Wonderland display. Now, this was an annual holiday event. It featured animated dolls and figurines, all holiday themed and winter themed. It usually opened on Thanksgiving Day and continued until New Year's Eve. It became an annual holiday of tradition for Generation Xers and baby boomers. And when the nursery closed in the early 2000s, there was concern about what would happen to these figurines. They had become such a part of local holiday tradition. Thankfully, the City of Portsmouth Museums bought the figurines, and they have exhibited them every November and December here at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center. The dedicated members of the exhibit department of the Portsmouth Museums start to work setting up Winter Wonderland in early October. Let's talk to one of them and take a look at the process of bringing this historic display to life. I'm joined by Andre Burden, who works with the exhibit department at the museums. Welcome, Andre.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good to have you back. Now, as you can see behind us, people are loading things into the courthouse gallery, getting ready to set up the Winter Wonderland display.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, the process can take a few months actually. We get started behind the scenes as early as the summer. So. Christmas in July is a very real thing for us, for some of us here, especially us in the exhibits part of the museums department. So, we've been working on this as early as, July, August, just moving things around and getting things prepared so we can get up here and start hauling stuff.
You guys work right up until like a few days before opening on Thanksgiving week?
We can be putting a little of the finishing touches for our visitors, up to, maybe Black Friday or Thanksgiving, something like that. We actually get it started the day after Thanksgiving. So, right up until that last moment, we're getting things and double checking and making sure everything's just right so we can get it ready for our visitors.
So I know that there are just tons of exhibits and mechanical dolls and things that we can't put them all out. We don't have the room for everything. So I know that things are sort of moved out year to year and maybe things are refurbished. Is there anything new this year, or are we going with pretty much with what we had last year?
We've got a few surprises for some of the visitors that maybe come here, year after year, make it a tradition. We've got a few things that we're moving around and a few things that we're pulling and adding. Got some new things you haven't seen before. So we do have a couple things coming in. We haven't been able to fabricate as many things as we wanted to, but we have been able to find ways to keep things fresh and keep things new, and but still give it the same traditional Winter Wonderland that our visitors that have been coming for so long have grown accustomed to.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
The exhibits, we take a little bit of everything. We're part stage crew, we're part graphic design, we're part artists. We have a lot to do. A lot of the things you see in the museums around here in the department, a lot of the people in the exhibits, we're capable of producing some of those works of art as well. But we channel our artistry and our efforts in the behind the scenes. So I'm a graphic artist myself personally. I actually went to school right in the area, right on this block actually. Right at this block actually. So I was honing my skills with marketing and things like that. I've got a little experience with working cameras and things like that. Just we've got people who have been working with electronics and working with some of our very popular train sets. We've got technicians, people that know exactly what to do. They're experts on those things. We've got people, putting together sets. We fabricate a large part of the Winter Wonderland a lot of the time. So we have people who are experts in those things.
So I know the whole backdrop on the second floor last year was new. The snow scene.
Absolutely new. Hand built within a matter of weeks, really. So we have experts and specialists here, and we're putting it together. We're working really hard to get this out here and just put something for it so the people both that live in Portsmouth and people that are coming into Portsmouth can see something special this holiday season.
Yeah, because people do come from all over to see this. People of my generation grew up going to Coleman's Nursery.
Exactly. And there's people from my generation that are looking for something new to get out here and check out. So we got Santa, we got pictures. We can take Santa, take pictures with Santa. We got all types of scenery. We've got all types of things going around in the museums department in particular. So for all ages, for all demographics, I think.
Great. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to work, but thanks for taking a break.
All right.
and
Thanks for having
talking
me.
to us. Thanks, Andre.
All right, you guys have a good day.
You too. Besides housing the Winter Wonderland display, the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve sponsors dozens of holiday-themed events. Here's Stephen Gurnett to tell us about some of those. Stephen, welcome to Museum Moments. Good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me back, Rob.
So you're going to tell us what's going on at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center during November, December, during Winter Wonderland.
There's a whole lot going on. The Winter Wonderland Showcase will open, as it does every year, the day after Thanksgiving. And so that will be the opening weekend. We'll be open Friday and Saturday, extended hours, along with the Children's Museum from 9 in the morning till 8 o'clock.
Wow.
on Friday and Saturday. And we're open Sunday too. And there's a whole lineup of activities. So I'm going to just put on my little
Okay.
holiday garment here and
You've been
tell
saving
you
that all year, haven't
I've been
you?
saying keep it in a safe. Our Christmas Winter Wonderland safe. So we're going to be starting the opening weekend with a lot of arts and activities that we have every year. We have cookie decorating.
Wow.
So these are all natural ginger spice cookies that Artisan Bakery makes, and they're frosted with royal icing, which it's hard, so you can draw on it, and we have these really cool edible markers.
So you can draw and eat it.
You can draw and eat it, exactly.
wow.
And then we are going to have some artist-led activities. And there's a whole lineup of events and activities that will be posted on our website. So if anybody needs to get that information, usually weekends, there'll be more going on. So if you come on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're almost guaranteed some free activities that go along with your ticket of Winter Wonderland, which is also a great value.
And what is the price of that?
It's $3 a person.
Wow.
And then we have a holiday pass, which is $12 a person. We do this every year. And it gives you a visit to the Winter Wonderland Showcase twice. So you can come one day and come another day. And then that $12 ticket also gets you a visit to the Children's Museum in Virginia.
Okay.
And as I said, we are open, both museums are open extended hours on Fridays and Saturdays till 8 o'clock.
So you could actually get like 3 days of museum. You could go to Winter
Exactly.
Wonderland one day, Children's Museum another day for the day, and then come back to Winter Wonderland.
Exactly.
That's great.
That's an incredible value. And then on top of that, if you come at the right times, Santa Claus will be coming to visit Winter Wonderland, and so people can visit him. There's going to be, a couple of activities we're going to have. Let's see. What have I got in my pocket? So every year we have an origami ornament making activity. So these will be Friday evenings at certain times and days, and so we'll have this really fun, quick activity. A professional artist, Rich Gray, he is well versed in origami crafts, and he's going to guide visitors to making their own ornaments that they can take with them. And another artist that we're going to have back this year, he does airbrush painting, and visitors can create their own winter scenes using easy stencils and airbrush techniques that he'll show them. And so this is an example of one I did. So
Oh, that's cool.
I got this polar bear stencil, and then I also just made a little moon and a few stars, and then I went back and I could decorate it with some markers.
So this is exactly
So this
whatever
is an
anybody
example
can do.
of a
They come-
winter scene that you can do. There'll be other events as well, and you can just, call our number 393-8543 or go on the website, which is portsmouthartcenter.com,
Okay.
and find a list of all those activities and when they'll be happening.
Okay. And now, weekdays for Winter Wonderland, are you open Monday through Friday? Or-
We're going to be open Tuesday through Thursday
Tuesday through
from 9 to 5.
Okay.
Okay, and then those extended hours from 9 to 8 o'clock in the evening will be Fridays and Saturdays. And Sundays will be open from 11 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lots of time to see it.
Yes, and this year we're going to have a sledding activity on Saturday, December 16th. We're going to have a slide for people to take a ride on. It's going to be set up right by the Winter Wonderland where the museum is.
Great.
And that is going to be an added bonus to come and see that day and come slide down our sledding experience for the year. That's something that we're looking forward to.
Now, there is an event that takes place on New Year's Eve during the day for kids, right?
Yes, exactly. Every year we have the New Year's Eve bash countdown to noon.
Okay, so since they're not going to be up at midnight,
no,
they're going to be up at 12 noon.
Exactly. So parents can bring the kids and they
get
can
a 12-hour jump on the New Year's.
Exactly. So instead of it's called the Noon Year's countdown. So we have a ball drop at noon, and then after that we'll have face painting. We'll have it's called the fireworks stomp, where we roll out carpets of bubble wrap, and kids can jump and dance on them make lots of noise. We're going to have some other activities like balloon making, and then that'll end at 2 o'clock, but people can stay because Winter Wonderland will still be open until 5 that day.
Great. And that is on at 12 noon or a little before 12 noon?
It starts at 11 o'clock. So
11
people can come
on Sunday, December 31st.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us, and I'll let you get back to your elfin duties.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You too. Throughout November and December, the Children's Museum of Virginia also hosts dozens of special holiday-themed events. Here's Corey Staten to tell us about some of those. Well, Corey, welcome to this episode of Museum Moments.
Thank you.
So tell us, what's going on at the Children's Museum this November and December?
Well, as you can see, it's already fall. The weather's changing. It's time to start having some winter fun. Things start off with us at the Children's Museum for a members exclusive event for our members, which is a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving celebration. That's for members only, and you can register for that by contacting Mr. Ian Francis, the membership coordinator of the museums. You can email him at francisi@portsmouthva.gov if you want to register or get more information. The following week, the Winter Wonderland Fund kicks off at the Children's Museum on November 24th. You can actually slip, slide, and sock skate inside the museum. So instead of freezing outside at a frozen pond or a pretend frozen pond, you can come inside, and with the price of your admission, you can skate around in your socks on the special surface that's going to be in our changing gallery for the duration of the winter hot festivities. On that Sunday, the 26th, we have the amazing magician, Mr. Harold Woods, amazing gentleman. He can juggle, ride a unicycle, and pull rabbits out of a hat. And he does some kind of way he does it all at the same time. On Saturdays in December, we'll have our Snow Wonders. So after the museum closes at 5, stick around because it'll snow on the Middle Street Mall in front of the Children's Museum. And there'll also be a special planetarium shows. December 3rd is a special day for special needs. So from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. when the museum is usually closed on a Sunday, the museum will be open just for those families that want to bring their special needs family members in for that day. And there'll be a special visit by Santa himself. So we got all sorts of fun activities going on the weekends and throughout the duration of Winter Wonderland. For the week of December 27th through the 26th through the 29th, we'll actually have a lot of different activities. Mad Science will be coming in there doing some holiday-related fun. Atumpan Edutainment, they'll be coming in to do some things related to Kwanzaa called Fruits of the Harvest. So there'll be a lot of fun things going on, representing a lot of holiday traditions throughout the course of the season. And I cannot forget the Rainbow Puppets. The Rainbow Puppets will make several visits with their Rainbow Puppet show called Toyland. So come on out and bring your families and have a great time at the Children's Museum of Virginia. A lot of these events come with the price of your admission.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for coming and telling us all about it, Corey.
Thank you. I'm glad to be able to share.
All right. That's it for our show today. If you'd like more information on any of these events or exhibits, simply log on to www.portsvaevents.com. There you'll find the exhibits and the events listed in order of dates, and each of them has a link to the various museum websites. I'm Rob Lauer, and from all of us at PCTV, we wish you and yours a happy holiday season. Join us next year for our January-February 2018 episode of Museum Moments.
You're watching PCTV, television for the new Portsmouth.